Hey, I'm Launders here at IEM on behalf of EasySkins.com. I'm with FNS of CLG. It was an 0-2 loss.
Yeah.
It was an 0-2 loss with a close second map.
Yeah, we went. Oh no, first map overtime,
First
and then
map.
second map was kind of a blowout in their favor.
So did you come in expecting to do well? I know it was like G2, a lot of hot aimers. Maybe have a similar playstyle to you guys.
Yeah.
Stylistically, do you guys match up?
No, definitely not. I mean, we're more of like a default-oriented team, and I guess to some extent they are too, but they take a lot more risks than we do. So going in, we perfectly predicted the veto. We knew exactly what maps we were going to play against them, so I watched enough demos to be able to know exactly what they were going to do. CT and T side, like tendency-wise, we tried to play our own game as well as, keep in mind exactly what they were going to do. But, like on Mirage, for example, we just didn't win any pistols. So we were down on both sides. That kind of sucked. I feel like if we had won even one pistol, with the obvious exception of getting ecoed, I think we would have been able to run away with the game, at least on the CT side. But yeah.
So would you say it was like an economic battle in that series specifically? Or would you say it was like momentum that would have been nice to have the pistol?
Yeah, I mean, we won a couple of rounds on the CT side that kind of brought us back a little bit, but we were always trying to come back. They always had the lead,
right,
which sucks because momentum is a big thing, especially when you're playing in North America with such an amazing crowd. They kind of they're loud and they kind of keep you going. So that was big for us. The crowd was helping us a lot, and we were able to come back on Mirage, but didn't close it out.
Right. Now, obviously, you guys came in to replace, I guess it was Envy?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 days before the event, so you didn't have a lot of time to prepare.
No.
Did you have high expectations for the event regardless?
I really thought we were going to beat G2 just because I knew exactly what they were going to veto. Like, it was really, we had it planned out, especially for G2. Say, for example, we beat G2 and then ended up against TSM. I could say, yeah, we weren't prepared for TSM, but we 100% were prepared for G2, so there's no excuses there. We just got beat.
Yeah, and that can happen. Now, I guess just to talk about your team a little bit more. You guys were once Mousepaz. You played 1.6 together?
Yeah. We played 1.6 with the same. Okay, it was just me and Cutler from the old team. But there was a couple of us in 1.6, and then we kind of made our way up the ranks, and then made it into Invite, and then luckily we were gifted a spot in CS:GO Invite. The second CS:GO came out, and then since that point we've been in Invite.
All right, so near the end of 1.6, you guys were in Invite.
Yeah.
We had the top of Invite, bottom of Invite.
Pretty high up there.
Pretty high up there.
At least top 4.
Cool. And then you got your spot in Invite, and you guys stuck together for so long.
Yeah.
Once you added on, I guess Hazed and Tarek came on last.
Yeah. They were Tarek was a ESEA main maximum player in 1.6. He never got a chance at Invite, but Hayes obviously he played Invite on Harwood's team and stuff like that. So all of them had good experience going into CS:GO. So yeah.
What I thought was really cool about your team, in early CS:GO, is you guys were coming from Mousepaz, netcode guides, is that you guys just stuck together, and you never really dropped anyone to pick up a huge star player or known player or known all-star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's kept you guys together? I mean, some people regard you as a top Invite team that doesn't get the results they're supposed to get, and I think people with a little bit more context see you as a team that's came up for so long and never have had to or never felt like you were just going to fall apart or have become a new team.
I mean, we've thought about it. It's been really tough, seeing the results not go in our favor so consistently, and then you're just maybe we need a roster change. I know I've pushed for it several times, including sitting myself. I'm just look, Hazed and I especially, we've been look, if you guys needed another star, we might need one. We're ready to, put ourselves down a little bit, maybe become a coach or something. I don't see myself becoming a coach for this team necessarily, but I would probably just join another team, but that's a completely different conversation. But yeah, it's been tough, sticking to the same roster with losses. But what keeps us together is the fact that we're always able to play these teams close for the most part. It's not we get blown out at these big tournaments, especially not at majors. I feel maybe a couple of games at majors, we have lost 16-7 or 16, something like that. But a lot of I could explain those losses to you in a way that okay, if we had won this pistol, and anyone can do that, but at the end of the day, it comes down to we don't get blown out that often. More so than not, we keep giving these teams a fight, and we've kept our top ranking in North America, at least at the top 4 level, and we've stayed consistent in that sense. So there's no real need to change it, make a big roster change, and also there's not that many players out there that you replace at this point with like anyone in our team.
Yeah, everyone would be a huge risk, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now, yeah, because like all the stars are on Liquid and Cloud9, and like if you look at anyone else, there's like players like Sui 2K who are up and coming, but they don't have enough experience, so it's a big gamble to take.
Yeah. So what do you need to do to take your team to the next level? Do you think you have sufficient talent to because you come close to edging out these games, but the losses eroded your confidence, right?
Yeah.
So do you think there's something you can do fundamentally to change the way that you guys play, approach the game, communicate?
We're looking at a better infrastructure, which means a better coaching staff, a better.
Do you have a coach right now?
Currently, no. We're not. We're looking into people, but right now we have no coach. We don't have. The best we have is a manager who's huge for us, but and that's Jeff. But we don't have a coach or like I said, we don't have a big infrastructure, but we're looking into it now. We're seeing the success that other teams have with these coaches and analysts and stuff like that, looking at other teams, looking at their own team, and we're trying to implement that now. Might be a little late, but we're trying our best to see what we could do to change these results. But as of right now, we're trying to refrain from roster changes, but anything can happen.
I think a lot of people, when they look at NA teams, there's always going to be something that they'll jump to, oh, this team's lazy, or this team doesn't prepare. This team plays puggy.
Right.
How much do you guys go into preparation for matches? Does everyone put in their effort in terms of watching demos?
Yeah, I mean, there's times I 100% agree where we slack. There's times where maybe we could have put in more effort, and then we realize that after we lose. But there's never been at least a LAN event where we've been let's just go into it. It's not a big deal. Even this LAN event, I watched 4 or 5 G2 demos before, an entire night, and then the next night we were flying to come here. And that's everyone on this team puts in the work, a sufficient amount of work, but obviously we could always do more. So in that sense, I mean, you could say we could put in more time, but you only realize that when you lose. So
how much do you think the chemistry on your team adds to how well you play?
Our success, I would attribute a lot of it has to do with our chemistry, the fact that we know each other's tendencies and plays, and what everyone's comfortable doing. So sometimes I would pop flash for Tarek, just because I know he likes those types of plays, pop flash peeking and stuff like that, making those scrimmy plays. Sometimes I'll be yo, Tarek, or oh, Hayes, push this, because they're aggressive players and they like to do things like that, so you want to put them in their best positions. So in that sense, chemistry helps a lot, and not just for me, but for everybody. Playing together for as long as we have the basics down for the most part. It's just, like I said, it's the closing out games when it really matters, when it really, really matters in those big games. Someone always makes a tiny mistake that ends up costing an entire match, and it consistently happens, as everyone sees.
Yeah.
And obviously something needs to be done. We're in pretty big trouble right now.
Right. So, say if confidence wasn't an issue. I was talking to Kerrigan yesterday, and he said, I was talking about the whole choking thing with TSM, and the recurring theme of losing the semis or whatever. And he said that he didn't believe that was choking. He believed that choking was when you would have a strong lead in a game, and then you couldn't close it out.
Right.
And you guys have been known to have make real games really exciting. Sometimes you do close them out in really exciting fashion. But do you actually regard that as a problem of the team's mentality, or could you justify some of those losses round by round?
I could justify them pretty easily, but I will always say that we have a big problem with discipline when we're up. When we're down, you always see us try to come back. Mirage is a big example of that versus G2. You always see big comebacks from us where we won't necessarily close out the game, but we'll make it 14-14 and then lose the last 2 rounds. But we never usually give up. But when we're up 14-4 or something, sometimes discipline comes into play, and people are more willing to take the risk because we're up so many rounds, and then economy comes into play, and then you have to eco the next 2 rounds, and then the other team has momentum, and then they win the next gun round no matter what you do, and then it just snowballs, and that's how CS works sometimes. So sometimes it's better to close that game out at 14-4 as opposed to make it 14-10 and then have the other team have that momentum, and that's such a big factor, So I would personally say that we're terrible at closing out games, mainly because of discipline. Discipline's a massive issue for us, for sure.
What can you do as a caller to influence that?
Like there's times where like I see exactly what's going on, but again, I'm not looking at 5 people's screens. That would be coach's job, I guess. But like sometimes I'll be playing and then somebody else will make a mistake, or even I would make a mistake, like it over aggress or not be as aggressive as I should be in a certain round to get information. So I think the key plays that need to be made on those types of rounds aren't necessarily made consistently. And I also believe like right now, teams like Liquid and Cloud9 have a lot of star power to be able to, no matter, even if those players make those mistakes, the stars just like that pull through and like you still win you the round, like Shroud will win a 1v4 or Pico or something. We don't do that. We have star capacity players, but we're not showing up when it truly matters. And that's what I believe. And like I said, that's why we're in trouble.
Right. And so I guess sort of final question: Do you think you have like you believe you have the talent capacity, but that people aren't showing up maybe at the right times or all together?
Yeah.
How can you change that?
Play more, do what you can individually, but also team-wise, go through every mistake in your demos, watch your own demos more than you should try to anti-strat, see exactly what's going wrong at what times, why you're losing those key rounds. Like I don't remember the last time we won a pistol, to be honest. Maybe against G2 one pistol we won on cash, that's it. And before that, like we've been to like 3 tournaments this the whole week and I feel like we've won like 0 pistols. So like that's a massive factor. I feel like pistols are a huge deal. In general, like we're losing the key rounds, and I don't know if it's coming down to individual play. Again, I would have to like watch those games and then be able to give you a better answer. But like I said, it comes down to those key rounds, and we're not winning them right now.
Right. Well, I think you guys are an interesting roster for like how long you've stayed together, and that a lot of times you don't get stomped out when it is kind of you are the strong underdog or whatever. So I think all those factors are pretty interesting for your storyline as a North American team.
Yeah.
And wish you good luck in your next tournament.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.